Hi folks, welcome to this week's Productivity Enhancer. Today we're going to take a look at how to shell a part that we don't want the entire face of this part shelled, but this feature is created from one single sketch, so there's no kind of outlines to list where we want that shell to happen. As is, if I were to go up and grab our shell tool and just shell out this whole face, let's say 5 millimeters, and accept it, then you'll see that our whole part gets shelled and we have these weird little creases in here. And the reason for that is obvious. It's that there isn't 5 millimeters of clearance on either side of these two arcs here, and therefore no material will be shelled. However, what if we just want to shell right to about here? And we want to do that for all 4 of these clover pieces on this bracket. Well, there's actually a really quick and easy way to do that. So I'm just going to delete this shell here. So what we're going to want to do is split this single part into many different solid bodies. And then by doing that, we can select individual solid bodies and shell those out just by themselves. So to show you exactly what I mean, let's just go ahead and grab the front view. And then we're just going to open up a sketch right on this front face. And depending on whatever contour you want, you can sketch out the shape. It doesn't matter if it's an open or closed contour. It just has to be a sketch that splits this part into different sections. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab the center rectangle and grab it out, maybe about there. Let's add some relations, make sure that all of these are equal. And for this sketch, we don't necessarily need to dimension all of these lines of this square here, but you can get fancy and we can add some jogs here. And if we do that, then we definitely have to dimension a little bit more. But let's just go ahead and add some jogs so we can shell out as much of this material as possible. And here we'll just add some relations to even these up. Select the midpoint, and then we'll make those vertical. And then we'll select the midpoint of these with the origin as well. Make these horizontal, and those are at least now centered. And then we can go and dimension it. Maybe make them 25. Make these 30. And then we can manipulate the height. Let's make those 10. And these have a little less room, so we'll make them 5. And that's centered up right where we need it. If you want to get fancy and add some sketch fillets to these corners to just round them off, you can, but for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to skip that step. So once that sketch is created, we can go up to Insert, down to Features, and then you see we only have a couple options, but we want Split. And by having that sketch selected, it will automatically select sketch 2 as our split line. And now we're just going to cut the part. And what the split line does is it splits all of these parts where there is a line into separate solid bodies. So you can see by hovering over each individual part, you can see that it's actually separated. And this sketch cuts this part into 5 separate solid bodies. So we're going to select all of these because we want all 5 of them. Click OK. And by doing that, we have a solid bodies folder that shows up. And you can see we have all of our solid bodies neatly organized right there for us. Now the rest is simple. We just select whichever part we want to be shelled. Let's say split 1, number 5. We'll go ahead and shell it. Keep it at 5 millimeters. By selecting it, we select face 1 of that solid body. And let's go ahead and get the preview so we can see what it will look like. And click OK. And then that part is shelled out, just like that. And we left all of these parts untouched. Now let's say we want a different shell for these. We can just go ahead and lower maybe down to 2. Let's keep it like that. And then by accepting that, we have a separately shelled solid body that has different parameters than shell number 2. However, we're just going to delete this because that's not part of our design intent. Just want to show that you can do that. So now that we have our part shelled appropriately, we want to make this into one single solid body again. So the easiest way to do that is just to go over and control select each one of these solid bodies. And then we right click and then click combine. And this combine is just a Boolean operation. You can see that we can add, subtract, or anything that's common. But we're just going to go ahead and select add and leave it. Show the preview. It brings us right back to that same part. And then we select it. And our solid bodies folder is gone because we're left with just the one solid body. You can see that that shell is still there. And we can go ahead and hide that sketch. And there you go. And now that part is shelled exactly like we want it without having to put too much time into the operation. This is also a really great tool if you're importing a lot of non-SolidWorks files like AutoCAD files, and then they're imported without a feature manager design tree. This way you can just go ahead and put your split lines wherever you want them, and then you'll create many different solid bodies, and then you can manipulate them the way you want. So that's how we shell out a specific area of a part while leaving these outside areas virtually untouched. So thanks for watching this week's Productivity Enhancer. Until next time.